It's me, Wilhelm. Welcome to my vlog. In this episode, I will share with you 5 trivias about the United Nations. The United Nations is an intergovernmental organization that aims to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relations among nations, achieve international cooperation, and be the center for harmonizing the actions of nations. For my first trivia, did you know that the name United Nations was coined by US President Franklin Roosevelt in 1942 during the Declaration of the United Nations? The Declaration of the United Nations was a document signed by 26 countries fighting the Rome, Berlin, Tokyo axis during World War II. The United Nations, as we know it today, was officially founded on October 24, 1945, following the end of World War II. From 26 countries, 50 countries met in San Francisco, USA that year to draft the United Nations Charter. Number 2. Currently, the United Nations has 193 member nations, including the United States, Canada, China, France, and our very own country, the Philippines. Did you know that since its founding in 1945, only one country had withdrawn its membership from the UN, Indonesia? Indonesia sent a letter to the UN Secretary General in 1965, expressing its decision to withdraw from the organization due to conflicts with its neighboring country, Malaysia. However, the following year, Indonesia expressed in another telegram to the UN Secretariat its decision to resume its cooperation with the organization. Indonesia's membership was reinstated without objection from other countries. Number 3. The United Nations is working closely with 15 international organizations that it designated as its specialized agencies. Each of these agencies are working autonomously under the UN's umbrella with their own governing bodies, membership, and funding mechanisms. Among its specialist agencies are the World Health Organization, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, and the World Bank. These agencies help the UN implement its programs around the world. Some of these programs are the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, and the World Food Program, or WFP. Did you know that the United Nations World Food Program helps feed around 91 million people in 83 countries? Also, the UN Refugee Agency has around 9,700 staff across 126 countries, providing assistance to almost 60 million refugees and stateless people displaced by war and other conflicts. Number 4. On Earth Day 2016, 174 world leaders gathered at the UN headquarters in New York and signed the Paris Agreement on climate change. The agreement was known for the largest number of countries to have signed the UN agreement in a single day. The Paris Agreement aims to strengthen the global response to the threat of climate change by keeping our planet's global temperature rise this century below 2 degrees Celsius. Number 5. The United Nations is the chief international organization leading the fight against pandemics and the spread of other diseases, including the COVID-19. To date, the UN has mobilized its supply chains, assets, expertise, and capacities around the world to support the COVID-19 response. The organization has distributed medical supplies across the globe. It has also helped train health workers and build testing and tracing facilities in multiple countries. Furthermore, the UN's humanitarian agency are aiming to assist over 250 million people in vulnerable situations around the world. Its priority is to continuously provide life-saving aid to 100 million people who are already relying on the org while supporting the wider UN response to the pandemic. Now, while we're at it, let's also take a look at how the UN and our country worked hand in hand to fight COVID-19. Since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, the United Nations has been aiding our country, the Philippines, in its pandemic response. Last August, the UN's humanitarian country team launched a COVID-19 response plan, which aims to provide critical health intervention and multi-sectoral humanitarian assistance to Filipinos located in pandemic hotspots. The response plan has a 6 billion peso funding, 23% of which were already mobilized. Our government has put in place several policies to fight the spread of COVID-19. For the past 7 months, almost 80% of our country was placed on lockdown. Local and international flights were banned. 147 COVID-19 testing sites have been built across the country. Financial, medical, and food assistance were also provided to families severely hit by the pandemic. Unfortunately, our fight against COVID-19 is far from over, so help our government and do your part. Always practice physical distancing in public areas. Wear your mask and face shield when you are outside your home. If you have no important business to do outside, just stay at home. You and your family's health and safety are your main responsibility. So stay home, stay safe.